How's it going? Welcome to the NoDQ.com live recap of AEW Dynamite for November the 10th, 2021. This Sunday is the AEW Full Gear pay-per-view, and I already screwed up. It's Saturday night, AEW Full Gear 2021. This was the final Dynamite before that show. We also have Rampage coming up this Friday, which will be the last AEW show on the eve of the Full Gear pay-per-view. Shout out to everybody watching this. I appreciate your viewership and support, whether it's live or on demand. Thank you again for tuning in. We kicked off Dynamite with the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. Seems like a pretty solid way to start off the show every week with Bryan Danielson. Cannot go wrong with that. Surefire, good match, of course, when you put Bryan in there. This week, we had Bryan Danielson versus Rocky Romero, who has been wrestling in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I believe I saw him in PWG years ago. He definitely made his way across the indie scene in North America. He's made a name for himself in Japan. He came out with the Best Friends. I guess the Best Friends are part of his group Chaos now. Crowd was very much behind Bryan, as you would expect. Bryan was sent to the outside early in the match, and you had Orange Cassidy out there. Orange Cassidy doing the distraction, putting his hands in his pockets. Bryan, the veteran, got distracted. Rocky came in with a dive to Bryan, but Bryan was able to get back in it. Bryan did some kicks, did some chops. Rocky just wanted more. Bryan put on the surfboard stretch, and Cassidy was at ringside, and he was having trouble watching this. He wasn't sure how to register what was going on. He was just very concerned for Rocky Romero. Match went back and forth here between both guys. Bryan eventually got the win with the Tequila Sunrise submission. I like how Bryan's winning with some different moves. Bryan picks up the victory. He's got Miro this Saturday in the match that will determine who will challenge the world champion at some future date. The announcers brought up how Bryan was crazy to take this match right before the pay-per-view. Miro, on the other hand, resting it up before the big show. Very good opening match here. TJS sent in a $5 super chat, says, $1 for every job interview I have tomorrow. Yeesh. Ready for a challenge, but I'm very excited for the show this weekend. 9 out of 10 hype for sure. Well, there you go, TJS. Looking forward to the pay-per-view. Dylan brought up in the chat room that Rocky was at the G1 show in San Francisco. So thank you for reminding me of that, Dylan. And yeah, I do remember seeing him in PWG too, like many years ago. Good luck to TJS with his job interview. Just don't put no DQ as a reference. That might not go over so well. Tom McCarthy sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate it. Says, I'm going to my first 2 AEW events this weekend. Have a great time, Tom. I'm jealous of you. Michigan has still not gotten an AEW show. Minneapolis will be getting 2 shows this weekend. Rampage on Friday. NoDQ.com will be recapping Rampage and SmackDown this Friday night. I'll be back here for the live stream. And then Saturday night, of course, NoDQ.com match-by-match results. And I will be back here on YouTube right after the show to recap it. Have fun this weekend, Tom. You're going to have a blast. We had the Inner Circle come down to the ring for an interview with Tony Schiavone. But America's Top Team jumped the Inner Circle as they were coming down to the ring. They beat the crap out of the Inner Circle. Junior Dos Santos had a kendo stick. He was using it. He punched Sammy Guevara in the gut. And then they got a table in the ring and with the help of America's Top Team, Dan Lambert power bombed Chris Jericho through the table, and then he put the walls of Jericho on Jericho. Scorpio Sky grabbed Jericho's hand and had Jericho tap out to the walls of Jericho. I pretty much feel very confident in my prediction. If you guys missed it, we did do predictions. It's up on the No DQ YouTube channel. We did our predictions for the pay-per-view. I went with the Inner Circle to win, and I'm definitely doubling down on that now, with Jericho getting humiliated by Dan Lambert here. You know this weekend Jericho's going to get his payback. Really good segment here, by the way. I enjoyed it very much. Caleb Jacobs said, "Hey, Aaron, why do people crap on AEW? They are better than WCW ever was." Well, people crapped on WCW a lot, especially towards the end. I mean, even when WCW was winning the war, people were still crapping on it. People would say WCW just pushes old guys, and they would complain about the cruiserweights not getting enough recognition. So yeah, there were definitely complaints about WCW. People would complain about the main events having DQ finishes and run-ins and all that stuff. People were complaining about the NWO, even though it was the hottest act in wrestling. So believe me, people definitely complained about WCW, even when WCW was doing well. We had a 6-woman tag team match. We had Britt Baker, Rebel, Jamie Hayter up against Ty Conti, the #1 contender, Anna Jay, and Thunder Rosa. We had all 6 of them brawling right when the bell rang, and the good gals cleared the ring. Pretty standard tag match here. Ty hit the Ty KO, but Britt was able to break up the pinfall, and then things started to break down again. Thunder Rosa did a crossbody to the outside on Jamie Hayter, and then in the ring, Ty hit the Ty KO to Rebel, picked up the win, builds up some momentum heading into the pay-per-view. Pretty standard stuff here, but it was fine for what it was. Next up, we had Jungle Boy Jack Perry versus Anthony Bowens. First time I think we've seen the Acclaimed on Dynamite in a while. You had Max Caster doing his usual rap, and he brought up how Jungle Boy's girlfriend hangs out alone with 7 other guys. Of course, in real life, Jungle Boy dating Anna Jay, who is part of the Dark Order, so that's what that reference was. And this was a pretty solid match, too. You had Max Caster interfering. He would grab Jungle Boy's foot at one point, and then when Jungle Boy made a comeback, got the snare trap on, you had Caster getting on the apron. Jungle Boy did a dive to Caster. Bowens tried to take advantage, but he could not put Jungle Boy away. Jungle Boy got on the snare trap, and you had Bowens trying to reach out to grab Caster, but could not do it. He tapped out. And then after the match, very interesting post-match here, we had Bobby Fish run down to the ring and attack Jungle Boy. Announcers were wondering what this was all about. Interesting how AEW will always reference like New Japan or Ring of Honor, but they do not mention WWE. Like, they did not say, oh, Bobby Fish, part of the Undisputed Era. They did not mention that at all, which is probably a good thing. There's really no need to, and I think the majority of AEW viewers get the connection and get why Bobby Fish is running down there. Christian and Luchasaurus ran down to make the save. Fish took his leave. And then backstage, we had Adam Cole with the Young Bucks. And Caleb Jacobs says copyrights didn't stop TNA from referencing WWE every chance they had. Anytime somebody from WWE debuted on TNA, they'd be like, oh, former WWE star so-and-so. Like, they could say it. They could say Bobby Fish and Adam Cole teamed up in WWE. They just choose not to do it. So backstage, Adam Cole said he's known Bobby Fish for a long time. He brought him in, introduction to the Young Bucks, but the Bucks said there's no dispute. It's the era of the elite. And they said that they're cool with Bobby Fish being there. And Cole then made a match, Bobby Fish going up against Jungle Boy for Friday's Rampage to soften up Jungle Boy just a little bit for the pay-per-view. We had a little video package for CM Punk and Eddie Kingston. We also had a video package earlier, Adam Page, talking about how he watched his friends, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, win titles, and they showed this depressing footage of him just standing in the empty arena without a title. We had Wheeler Yuta up against Wardlow. Pretty much a squash match here for Wardlow. He hit not one, not two, not three, but 4 power bombs, and then finished off Yuta with a rising knee strike. And then we had the Hardy family office rundown. They attacked Orange Cassidy, and Matt Hardy hit, with the assist of a chair, a twist of hate to Orange Cassidy. And they did announce for Friday on Rampage, they definitely built up Rampage, the go-home show, the final show before the pay-per-view. Matt Hardy versus Orange Cassidy one-on-one. That will be on Friday. And no Willie G at this point. Nobody has been cited in Minnesota that could possibly make a surprise appearance. I mean, don't rule out a few names. Obviously, most of the recent guys, well, pretty much everyone released last week, they will not be there. But a couple guys recently had their 90 days expire. We'll see. We had a tag team match. We had Lee Moriarty and Matt Sydal up against Lio Rush and Dante Martin. Lee and Dante were going at it. Crowd was really into that. I mean, this was just a really fun match with these 4 guys. Lio Rush got in there. This was his first Dynamite match, and he was doing really well. Lio Rush was hitting dives. He was just all over the place. Crowd was chanting AEW. Dante ended up hitting his springboard moonsault, pinned Lee to win the match. Good stuff here, very entertaining. All 4 guys were killing it, so good stuff. Gary Joe says, I love how they showcased Wardlow. Can't wait until he goes solo. See the Batista effect with Wardlow. Well, we'll see on that one. And I agree with Anthony here. R.I.P. to Lio Rush's grandmother. My condolences. We had a Miro video package hyping up his match with Bryan Danielson. Said that he needs to win this tournament. All the Redeemer stuff. Pleasing his wife. Yada, yada, yada. We had Dax Harwood in a rare one-on-one match versus Pac. Crowd really enjoyed this one too. They were chanting, "This is wrestling," back and forth here. Pac hit a brain buster off the top, and then Tully Blanchard got involved. He helped Dax get the upper hand, but Dax could not put away Pac. He hit a brain buster. Pac kicked out. Dax hit a back suplex off the top rope. He had a tiger bomb, but Pac just stayed in it. And then Pac got on his submission, and Dax Harwood, he's got a title match on Saturday, so he immediately tapped out, not wanting to jeopardize his match. His shoulder was taped up, so he had to tap out right away. Pac picks up the victory. Lights went out. Before that, Cash Wheeler came down, attacked Pac. Lights went out, and then we had Andrade and Aleister Black in the ring, and they attacked Pac. And finally, we had the Lucha Brothers and Cody Rhodes run down to make the save. We also had a tag team match added to the pay-per-view. Cody and Pac up against Malachi Black and Andrade. And as far as my prediction goes, I'll probably go with Black and Andrade to win this one. since Pac got the win here on Dynamite and Black's coming off that loss to Cody. I say Black and Andrade win on Sunday. Marcus the Entertainer with a $2 super chat says, keep up the good work, Aaron. Well, thank you for that, Marcus. I appreciate the super chat. Also, another reason I go with Malachi Black and Andrade. Right now, Sammy Guevara is the TNT champion, babyface. You also have what I think is going to happen, Adam Page winning the world title as a babyface. Build up some heel challengers for both those champions. All the more reason for Black and Andrade to pick up the win at the pay-per-view. And Mr. Dark Fantasy, I agree. The new Mario Party game is really fun. But I did like that Super Mario Party game on Switch. I know some people did not. I wish they had more boards, though. Anyways, back to Dynamite. We had CM Punk and Eddie Kingston brawling in the parking lot, and you had officials trying to separate them. A very brief appearance by both guys, just a little quick segment for them, building up the match on Sunday. You really didn't need to do too much. They sold it with that one promo, quite frankly. Willie G says, do you think Punk and Kingston will open the show? I think that's a perfectly fine idea to kick it off with that match. Why not? I mean, there's any number of matches it could open up with, but I would be cool with that being the first match. I think whatever they do will start the show off hot. Pretty confident they'll know what they're doing with that one. We had our final segment. Oh, by the way, we had MJF and Darby Allin in a video package. That could also open up the pay-per-view. I guess we'll have to wait and see. We had a contract signing, whatever. We had Kenny Omega, Adam Page in the ring with Tony Schiavone. They had the big long table set up. Crowd was chanting cowboy shit. And Omega said he's a little sad because if it wasn't for Page's insecurities and failures, maybe Page would have been the guy. And Omega said it was the elite that kept picking him up every time he fell off the horse. And he said that Page is a disappointment. Page responded by saying that Omega is afraid of him, and Omega was saying things to him last year because of the fear. And Omega said, forget about what's going on in the past, and said that maybe at some point they could be friends again. He offered a handshake, but then we had the swerve. See, a cameraman came into the shot, and at first you might think, well, is this a technical mistake by AEW? But it was actually done on purpose because the cameraman was not a cameraman. He attacked Adam Page with the camera and revealed himself to be Don Callis. And Page was busted open. They did a little, I guess maybe a callback, maybe not. But if you remember back in the day, you had a Steve Austin versus Undertaker First Blood match, and they actually used Austin's blood to sign the contract. They did the same thing here with Omega using Page's own blood to sign the contract as the final visual heading into Sunday's pay-per-view. And I have to say, it was really well done. I liked it a lot. And again, I'm doubling down with my prediction after the end of this Dynamite that Adam Page will be the new AEW champion. Omega signing the contract in blood, getting the best of Page. I think Page is going to win the title on Sunday. So overall, really good show. Really good go-home show from AEW. I'm going to give it an A-. I thought this was a really fun show. Lots of quality wrestling from start to finish. Strong angle at the end for the main event. And they had the video packages to build up the pay-per-view. They did a really good job with everything. So thumbs up for this week. And let's see what you guys thought in the chat. Caleb Jacobs gives the show an A+. MVP Kev with a B+. Terry Waller gives the show an A. Joey Perez gives the show a B+. And let's see what you guys thought as far as the actual poll goes that I put up for AEW. Looks like 53% gave it an A. Wow. 29% with a B, 9% a C, and 9% with a D. 53% an A for AEW Dynamite this week based off of the chat room poll. And Mike Mira gives the show an A++. There you have it. AEW Full Gear, going to be a great show this Saturday. Again, NoDQ.com will be doing play-by-play results, match by match. The results will be up on the site. And then after the pay-per-view, I will be back with a live recap. Dylan Hensley sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Dylan. Says, assuming Hangman will win the world title this Saturday, who do you think should be the one to take it from him? Great question, and I already answered this a couple of times, but I'll say it again. MJF. MJF is the guy that I would go with next as far as who beats him for the title. I don't think it should be Bryan. I don't think it should be CM Punk. And I don't even think it should be Miro. I think it should be MJF. MJF should get his time at the top and, give Paige a pretty lengthy run. But I think by next summer, like August, maybe All Out, or even next year's Full Gear, I would go with MJF as the next champion. That's my take on it. MJF would be my choice to be the next champion. And DJW sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, do you think Tony Khan is giving us CM Punk and Eddie Kingston too soon? I feel like there could be more build. It does feel a little rushed, but at the same time, they probably got bigger matches for CM Punk down the line. Whether it's CM Punk versus Kenny Omega, or CM Punk versus MJF, or CM Punk versus Bryan Danielson, CM Punk versus Hangman Adam Page. They got a lot of stuff. A lot of potential matches with CM Punk. So yeah, I think that they figured, you know what? We'll just put this on Full Gear. They want to do a fairly big match for Full Gear. Maybe they could have spent a few more weeks building it up. It did feel a bit abrupt, but they sold me on it with one promo. And I think they sold pretty much everyone on it with one promo. So sometimes you can get it right with just one promo. You can build up the match, and that's all you need. You don't really need a lengthy story. You just let those guys trash talk each other a little bit, and bam, you got people excited for the pay-per-view. And we'll see what kind of number they do for the show. If they can break their pay-per-view buy rate record for Full Gear. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. I very much appreciate it. And again, please subscribe if you haven't already, and tell a friend if you like the video and you've been a loyal viewer. Best thing you can do to help out is just share a link to this video on social media. Tell a friend, anybody you know who watches wrestling. Word of mouth really does help. So if one person says something to one person and then that person says something to somebody else, that can blow up very quickly. If each person in the chat room here told a friend, that could help build up the audience for this channel. So anything you guys can do, tell a friend, anybody who has even remote interest in wrestling, maybe have them check out this video or check out the channel in general. So that's all I got, guys. Thank you again. Take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you all next time.